I grew up in Western Queensland, a place called Cunnamulla. Anyone know Cunnamulla? No, it's a long way out back. So anyway, hence my love of the bush. Has anyone ever been to a country race meeting? The wonderful part about a country race meeting is that you don't have to know anything about the horses. Half the fun of a country race meeting is the people and the antics that they get up to. So this poem I wrote, I'd like to call it and share with you. I call it The Day Helen Won the Cup. And if you try and visualise what's going on, I'm sure you'll understand. Way out in Western Queensland, where there's always lots of space, some cockies held a meeting to organise a race. They meant to raise some funds for the Flying Doctor and his crew. It was up to worthy cause of the least they could do. Now Long Tall X from Avenel offered his clay pan as a track. The sandhills were too heavy and the black soil plains would crack. Speed from north of town said he'd be steward for the day, because he'd been to the Melbourne Cup once, so he knew the state of play. Now Pieta, the local publican, said she'd run the bar. She had a mobile cold room that she could tow behind the car. The local SB bookies said they were keen to play and they'd run a tote if the coppers stowed away. And so the date was set for the first Saturday in July. The purse would be 50 quid and anyone could apply. The inaugural Claypan Cup was advertised far and wide and nominations came running in from across the countryside. There was Boyd's Babe from Widgie, a thoroughbred of renown, and Rainey's Roan from up the creek, who'd make the trip back down. Boober's Lad from Charlotte Vale was a dark horse of the race. He had one crooked ear and a white blaze down his face. Now his owners trained him personally on a hidden mulga track, wielding scrubber bulls that didn't cut him any slack. And then there were the wild cards just running for the day. For some, a little curry combing would not have gone astray. Now the race was set to run sharp at 3:30, right after Fashions on the track and before they served high tea. There were 8 horses in the cup, most of them tried and true, veterans of the local picnics, so they knew what to do. Now the Goodwin boys had rolled out some AstroTurf between the bar and steward shack, which was doubling as change rooms for Fashions on the track. Now the jockeys, they were a mixed bunch of age and sex and sight, with racing colours reminiscent of some psychedelic neon light. They gathered up near the barrier while the Fashions on the track were run, as ladies in their finery paraded in the sun. Along the AstroTurf they waltzed, oozing fashion, finesse and style, in hats and gloves and outfit, some not worn for quite a while. Now most were in it for the fun, but there was one or two, confident in their social status and social fashion too. There was Susan from Angonia, with a hat of brilliant hues, and a stylish pastel outfit complete with matching shoes. And Helen, now she was local, well known for her sense of tone, with a broad red hat with roses on it and a parasol maroon. Now the ladies, the judges had all flown in. They were retirees from the coast, ladies of fashion, but perhaps more impartial than most. Their decision would be final, no discussion entered into, and the results would be announced when the Claypan Cup was through. So Gregory R., the clerk of the course, in his coat fire engine red, called the horses to the barrier and raised the flag above his head. And off they went at breakneck speed in a cloud of dust and flies. The Claypan Cup was underway beneath the western skies. Boyd's Babe took the lead, followed close by Boober's Lad. Then came Rainey's Roan and a Yulo colt called Brad. As they passed the 4th Gidgee tree, the field was spreading wide. Warrego Willie was boxed in behind Dopey Sam on the inside. But out in the car park, trouble was on its way. The Dunstan boys' 2 kelpies had come out for the day. They'd rounded up a sand goanna and they were herding it with glee. When the goanna saw them coming, he went looking for a tree. Now on those western Claypans, trees are somewhat few, but with 2 Kelpie pups on your tail, any tree will do. As fate would have it, Helen was sashaying nearby, and her broad red hat and parasol were the closest to the sky. The lizard gave a mighty leap, and up Helen's dress it flew and perched upon her hat, just as the dogs came into view. Well, Helen gave a wild shriek, would wake the dead to hear. With the reptile perched upon her hat, Helen danced in fear. She bucked and jibed and twisted like a buck jumper in full fight, while the dogs were circling round her barking with delight. She tossed a champagne glass away, threw a parasol towards the sky, and hurdled the enclosure fence, just as the field came dashing by. She sideswiped Dopey Sam, cut Bullock's babe off on the rail, and to add insult to injury, the lizard whacked her with his tail. Down the street she thundered, passing horses left and right. The crowd were moving closer as they marvelled at the sight. With the reptile perched upon her hat, hands flying to and fro, the crowd were cheering louder, "Go, Helen, go!" As the lizard fought for traction and he clawed at her dress, another whack from his leathery tail only magnified her distress. She hitched the dress up high and was running on her toes, and as they passed the winning post, it was Helen by her nose. Now the crowd were cheering wildly, almost hysterical with delight. And in the dust and mayhem, Helen vanished out of sight. At last they found poor Helen near the steward's gate, lying sprawled out in the dust like savouries on a plate. She'd blown a stiletto just as the winning post flashed by, and as she hit the dust, hat and jockey hit the sky. The lizard had decamped to a pine tree down the track. They could keep their 50 quid, he wasn't coming back. Now the crowd continued cheering as they carried poor Helen in, lying dazed upon the stretcher, lipstick smeared down her chin. Even in her frazzled state, she waved to maintain her pride. Her jockey wasn't registered, but by golly could he ride. She'd won the fashion stakes and her hat was runner-up, and the decision was unanimous. Helen won the cup. Now way out in Western Queensland, where there's always lots of space, the Claypan Cup has now become an annual country race. They have several races on the day, in fact there's quite a few, and the Goanna Derby is race number 2. Horses come from interstate with jockeys of renown, but as the punters start heading west, Helen goes to town.